on, Ralph.
Yeah, it would look better. I think that's a good idea. Good idea. It's better. Instead of empty. Now, why don't you come in this room? Come into this room.
Make up the quality of what you got the computer.
Laboratory.
כבוד מורנו ורבנו, הרב הראשי שלנו, כבוד חכמינו, הרבים, איש איש לפי כבודו, חבריי וידידיי, dear friends, I'm very happy to be here today with you and to join my colleagues in the rabbinate today at this meeting in honor of Rabbi Meir Kahane. We're all very anxious to hear what he has to say to us. There are several things which are important to me, and I think to all the members here assembled of our rabbinate. It's very obvious to anyone who's present that we have the rabbinic leadership of the community here today. The reason the rabbinic leadership is here today is, number one, to express our independence as a community of any form of what I consider, many of you might consider, undemocratic thinking, in the sense that if one does not agree with Rabbi Kahane's political views, he must be isolated. Anyone who speaks in the name of Torah, in the name of Jewish tradition, Masoret, etc., etc., cannot be isolated, and we will not accept the dictates of irreligious and anti-religious forces from outside the community dictating to us our autonomous opinion of what we intend to do and what we intend to hear and whom we intend to invite. This is point number one. Point number two, that there are divergent opinions regarding the problems in Eretz Israel. Our community has never been ostriches. We have never believed that if there's a problem, maybe if you close your eyes and you put your head in the sand, the problem will go away. This is completely and totally counterproductive, and certainly is not a problem-solving method. We have problems in Eretz Israel today. We have problems in world Jewry today. We have problems in America here today. And these problems are obvious. They're as obvious as one would say, as the nose on your face. You have a problem today of mixed marriages in the United States where you're reaching over 47% of intermarriage. This problem is being fostered by a certain point of view reform Jewry. This is obvious. It's going to affect us even if we, as we do have our beautiful takana, but it's going to affect us because if there's a weakened overall Jewish community, it makes life even harder for us. There are problems in Eretz Yisrael because of the centricity of Eretz Yisrael. The interests of Eretz Yisrael are our interests. The problems there have become very, very, very heart-rending to us when you consider the questions of security, when you consider the questions of the totality of Eretz Yisrael, Judea and Samaria, when you consider the whole problem of Mihu Yehudi, which is, in the beginning, was considered as a non-problem. Today, it's even accepted as a half of a problem. And I can guarantee you that within the next year or two, this is going to become the problem. And as long as we continue to close our eyes to it, we're not going to in any way solve it. It is important, therefore, that we have with us today Rabbi Meir Kahane, Chaver Knesset, Whether we agree with all his views or do not agree with all his views, this is a question of democratic choice and principle. Eilu ve'eilu divrei elim chayim, even in the machloket negamaha, there are divergent opinions. To listen, to hear questions which are raised, which are sincere questions, to listen to approaches to solutions. This is a question of sitting down and giving a question thought. But above all, we will not at any time be dictated to in opinion formulations by a cabal today which is self-established as what we call the Mimsad, the Jewish American establishment, made up of many professional Jews who earn their living that way, but at the same time of a bandwagon effect wherein the media dictates, the media is supplied with enough money to dictate what will become the accepted norm and what will not be the accepted norm in Jewish life. We have a right to our own thinking process, we have a right to our own decision making, and this above all is a part of the democratic concept. The right to differ and the right to state that this is what we believe in and this is what we want to hear without having to suffer the dictates of any orchestrated establishment in American Jewry, which definitely does not agree with our points of view from religion, and our point of view of Orthodox commitment, our point of view of heritage, traditions, etc. And therefore, we are here today, who's to you, a very, very well-known, no doubt historic figure who will go down in history for his achievements, and he'll continue to do many, many more things. Rabbi Meir Kahane, Chaver Knesset.
Rabbi Rashi, told Rabbanim, friends. I think probably the most important point that I have to make is that I have no political views. All of my views are based on halakha. I'm not a politician. I'm a rabbi who's in politics. And there's a tremendous difference between the two concepts. I've never in my life said a political concept. Everything is based on what is found here. That's the Jewish way. There is no other way. That's the difference between the Kach movement and perhaps Tchiyah. We're not a nationalist movement. We're a religious movement. And nationalism is a basic part of halakha and Torah. And therefore, I must begin, because we have, and I must tell you that I'm honored that the Rabbanim, the Kehillah came out, all of the major ones. And it's a tremendous thing, and I am honored by it. And so I want to give a bit more of a shi'ur than just a speech. Our problem is not that people don't know the truth. Ibn Ezra has a wonderful saying. In yesterday's parasha, in Makata Ha'arbe, Avdei Paro, Pharaoh's servants come to him and say, Terem Teidah Ki Avda Mitzrayim, which translated literally means, don't you yet know that Mitzrayim is lost. But Ibn Ezra puts it wonderfully, tremendous insight. He says, Aterem ratzita sheyidbarer lecha. Don't you yet want to know? That's our problem. There's nothing that I am saying here that you don't know is the truth. The problem is the truth. It's obvious. Elama, Aterem ratzita sheyidbarer lecha. Don't you yet want to know? You don't want to know. The problem is too painful. The answer is even more painful. So we don't want to know. That's, and Ibn Ezra, that has genius, a psychological genius into an understanding of human nature. Everyone here gives money to Mosdot, Eretz Israel. Everyone. I want to make it clear that if the things that I'm saying are not done, and if we don't win, Chas v'Shalom, there will not be Mosdot to give to. We are dealing with an issue which is the foundation of a building. If the foundation collapses, there will be no building. No yeshivot, Chas v'Shalom, no Mosdot. We are dealing with the survival of Eretz Israel. When I speak of the Arab issue and what we have to do to the Arabs, people really think that this is politics. So I can argue with you, not argue with you, agree with you, not agree with you. I want briefly to point out to you what the halakha is on the status of a goy, of a non-Jew in Eretz Israel. The Torah doesn't only deal with the kitchen or the Beit Knesset. It deals with everything in life. Hilchot Shabbat, Hilchot Aravim, Hilchot Nida, Hilchot, what are the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael? Torah is a way of life. It includes everything. And if the Beit Yosef tells us how to tie a shoelace and what shoe to put on first, alachat kama v'kama, that it has something to tell us about what kind of government in Israel, what is the status of goy, and what kind of a government Israel must have. So I want you to listen carefully. This is a shiur b'halakha, a lesson in halakha, not politics. I leave politics to Agudat Yisrael. This is halakha. The source of what is the status of a non-Jew in Eretz Yisrael, the original source, the basic source is in Parshat Shoftim, Perek Kaf in Dvarim. Ki tikrav el ir, hilachem aleha, if you come nigh unto a city to fight against it. Ve'karata elea lishalom. When you go to war, and we're speaking here now, and I must tell you quickly what this whole scene is. It is not a milchemet mitzvah, because unfortunately, many rabbis, with kol hakavod are ignorant, incredibly so, about this whole area of halakha, and they would tell you this was with Zion HaAmim. These are the 7 Canaanite nations. Today, this is not true. So I want to tell that the Sifri, and Rashi on the spot brings down the Sifri, he immediately says, B'milchemet hareshut hakatuv medaber. We are speaking about a voluntary war, which cannot be the war of the 7 nations. So let's get that clear. This is any war, any war. If a Jew goes to war, what's the first thing? He has to call for peace. He has to tell them, are you ready for peace? Nice? Everybody loves that, right? Nice, yo, peace now, peace, right? Nice. V'haya'im shalom ta'alcha. Why did they say, good, we want peace? You hear that? They want peace, we want peace, everyone's peace. What is the halakha? If they want peace, they don't fight now. Vaya kol ha'am hanimtzava yiyu lecha lamas vavaducha. If they make peace, not war, if they want to stay, there has to be misim, taxation, tribute, v'avdut, and servitude. The sifrit on this pasuk comes. Sifrit, not kahana, chas v'shalom. The sifrit. Ratzu misim v'lo avdut. Or avdut v'lo misim. If they say, we're ready for tribute but not servitude, or servitude and not tribute, lo shomim le'eh. You don't listen to them. Ad she yikablu gam misim v'gam avdut. They must accept, otherwise, then you're going to warn them and you do what you have to do. My point is that if they want peace, they must be misim v'avdut. Now let's see what does that mean? What does that mean, misim v'avdut? Rambam. In Yechot Melachim, very calm, halakha. He goes into this whole thing in Nechama, Shalom, v'chud. Im ishlimu v'kiblu sheva mitzvot b'nei Noach. Ein hogim mehen nishama. You don't kill any of them. V'arehen lemas. Shenemar Yiyu lecha lemas v'avaducha. And then he brings down here the sifri. Kiblu alehem mas v'lavdu and so on. Now he says, what is the avdut that Chumash said? What is avdut in practice? Now this is the Rambam. I would never dare to say such a thing because I'm not an extremist. Now listen to the Rambam. V'avdut sheyikablu sheyeyu nivzim, they shall be low in contempt, ushfelim limata, v'lo yarimu rosh b'Yisrael, they should not lift their head up in Israel. Ela yu kvushim tachat yadam, they should be captured or they should be humbled under them. לא יתמנו על ישראל לשום דבר שבעולם. They should never be appointed to any position of authority over Jews ever. In Perek Aleph, Halakha Daled, the Rambam expounds on that. He brings down the pasuk, which says, pasuk. Let me bring the Makor. The din of a melech, Perek Yuzayim, Marim. Som tasim alecha melech. Mikerev achecha tasim alecha melech. From your brethren, the king. Lo tuchal latet alecha ish nochri asher lo achicha hu. You are not allowed to appoint a foreigner. The Talmud in Yevamot says, why does it say Som Tasim? Why Som Tasim? Kol misima asher ata mesim lo yeh ela mikerev achecha. Any authority in Israel. Now listen to what the Rambam says. Lo sal velo emalchut bilvad. Ela lekol hasrarot she b'Yisrael. Any authority in Israel. Lo sal tzava, a goy can't be a tzava. Or Druze can't be a captain in the Israeli army. So people come to and say, but what are the Druze? Because like I'm the Druze, but they can't be. Lo sal chamishim, lo sal asara. Afilu mimune alamat hamayim. Even a pakid in the area of Teddy Kalek can be a goy. Anyone who has an authority over a Jew can only be a Jew. That's the halakha. If I'm a racist, I'm in good company. I have the Rambam with me, the Talmud with me, to Chumash with me, and there is not a Rishon ever who disagrees with this halakha. This is halakha psuka. Let man depali. Nobody argues on this thing. Not even a clerk, a bureaucrat in the area that dishes out water can be a non-Jew. Vein sarich, lomar, dayar, nasi, no question about it. That a judge or a chaver knesset, a goy, sitting and watching 9 Arabs voting on mi Yehudi. I thought I was in an insane asylum. We are not normal people. We need a national couch. שנאמר מקרב אחיך תשים עליך מלך. כל משימות שאתה משים לא יראו אלא מקרב אחיך. Now I do not know how to make it more than this. And now I'll tell you something. I presented a bill in the Knesset last year in which I quoted the whole bill was a quote from the Rambam. Of course, I didn't say it was from the Rambam. And we brought as a chok Knesset, Hatzat Chok, the Rambam. The Yoshev Rosh of the Knesset, the speaker, he lived, ruled that this is a racist bill. Do you understand what happens when they say Kahanism? When they are against Kahanism, they are against Judaism. That's what we face, against Judaism. And so I want you to understand clearly. I purposely wanted to bring this down for you. Not to give a speech in politics, but to bring you clear, halakha psuka, mishnah Torah, clear with no quarrels on this. There is no Rishon who differs with this. This is te'echad, a unanimous opinion of the halakha. This is not a question, elu ve'elu. This is halakha. And when I speak to certain Gedolim in Israel, privately, they say to me, Halacha leMoshe miSinai. But publicly, they won't say it. This is the frustrating thing. But they tell me, you say it. Al tishaver. Don't let them break you. Say that. You're not going to break me, that's for sure. But that's not the point. Can you imagine Dolim would get up and say, let the chips fall where they may. This is the halakha. Certainly they would call them names too. So what? Tragedy is that we have fear. Talmud tells us in Sanhedrin, Daf Yud Zayin, there was a king, Yanai Hamel. Yanai was of the Chashmonaim, but not a good bed, Tzdoki. And his servant, his Canaanite servant, another Western democratic concept, his Canaanite servant killed a person. The concept of a Canaanite servant is that he is rechush, he is property. So the Baal HaRechush has to come to the court also. So they sent him a hazmana, a summons, to come to the court. It wasn't the court, the district court, the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin. He came. Okay? Yanai Mela comes, and he was a bad king. He was a rough king. So he killed him. He came and he sat down. The halacha is that when the Baal Din comes to El Bedin, he has to stand. So Shimon ben Shattach, who was the Av Bedin, the Rosh of the Bedin, and Wagab was his brother-in-law too, which also helped. Said to him, Yanai HaMelech, amod al raglecha, stand on your feet. So he looked at him and he said, Lo kemo she'ata omer. I'm not going to do what you say. Ela kemo she'omrim alerecha. I want them to tell me to stand up. I want the Sanhedrin to tell me stand. And the halacha is to stand. I said, no question. Panali mino. The Sanhedrin sat in a semicircle. So he turned to his right. Kavshut pnehem bakarka. So they all looked at it. One's on the ceiling. One is reading a paper. Nobody looks at it. Panalis le smolo. Kavshut pnehem bakarka. Who wants to tell the king to stand up? Who knows? A dangerous guy. Amalem shemen shata. Balei machshavot atem. You're all clever people with all kinds of thoughts. I'm going to look away. I'm not going to look at him. Yavo bal hamachshavot. Let the one who makes thoughts and understands thoughts, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yavo ve'yipara mikem, and let him pay you back. Rabotai, I must tell you something, and I say this with a heavy heart. A manhig, ruchani, a leader, a spiritual leader, has got to lead and not be afraid of Yanai, even though Yanai's name is Shimon Peres. Who is Peres? And Oftamei. What is it with Peres and Oftamei? What are we afraid of? If we had 1/10 of the pachad that we have towards people, if we would translate that into pachad, Yirat Hashem, the Mashiach would have come twice already. There is no Yirat Hashem. There's pachad, what we say, what we do, and I'll be called a racist, and I'll be called names in the newspapers, and who knows what they'll do to me. What did they do to you? What can they do to you? The most they can do to you is take away from you Olam Hazeh. But if you don't say the emet, they'll take you away from you. He will take you away from you Olam Haba. That's what life is. Where is the emunah? Where is the faith? Not for nothing did Chazal tell us in Sotah. Mi garam la tzadikim sheyitbazbez shulchanam atid lavo. What will be the cause that the tzadikim, bear in mind, they're not talking about the tzadikim, will lose a